All right, Sean Tatel here with the WBC welterweight champion of the world, Mario Barrios, fighting February 21st here in Vegas against Ryan Garcia. Big fight coming up, good fight coming up. Let's get right into it, Mario. Who's more dangerous, a 46-year-old Pacquiao or a 27-year-old Ryan Garcia?
Honestly, I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into that, right? It depends on what type of Ryan that we're gonna get. But I take every fight, as if it's gonna be the most dangerous fight. Um, yeah. So like, as of right now, I have the mentality, that Ryan, is gonna be the more dangerous fighter. But of course, when I was getting ready for Pacquiao, I was getting ready for a dangerous Pacquiao.
Well, how much of a different energy does this matchup and does Ryan bring out of you as opposed to Manny Pacquiao? Does he bring out a different side of you?
Oh, nah, I I wouldn't say he brings out a different side of me. I've been boxing, since I was six, been professional since I was 18. I treat, every fight as if, it's my most dangerous fight to date. So it's no different with this one, Um, I know, everything that Ryan has been saying, he's saying, he's focused, his team is saying that he's the sharpest he's ever looked, all this stuff. And all I can really say is, I hope so, man. Like I can only hope, I step in there on fight night and I get the best version of Ryan. Because that's gonna be that's gonna bring the best version out of me. And then, that's only gonna benefit, the sport of boxing. I'm looking, to have a sensational performance. I want to have a very I want to make a statement, with this fight. I haven't had, the type of victory, defending my title yet. And that's really, what I'm looking, to get, out of this fight.
Did you and I mean I know I asked you about it a lot in the lead up to the Pacquiao fight, but did you in retrospect, because he was a legend that you grew up watching, did you have too much respect for Pacquiao? And is that that's what I was getting at too. By this is a different dynamic with Ryan Garcia. That won't be the case in this fight.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just not so much that it was just like respect that was like that, like, I had so much respect. It was just like having Manny in front of you, like he really has, that one of a kind type of style. Even at, his age, his rhythm, his timing, the way he puts his punches together. It's hard to like it's just hard to build momentum with. And then by the time I felt like I was able um to press the way I wanted to, it felt like it was already, too late. Um but that being said, I mean, I was still happy, with the performance, that I was able to put on, regardless of, people's thoughts and everything. And I think, there was a reason why there wasn't much interest, from Pacquiao and his team, with when it came to a rematch. I think that they knew, what he showed was, I think, the best version that he could possibly show, at this moment. And I know, I could easily go back, and there's a lot of changes that I could make. But yeah, regardless, I think it was great, for boxing. I have a hell of a lot of Filipino fans now. And yeah, it was still an honor, to be in there with a legend like him. And I still have, a lot that I'm able to take away, from that fight.
I know you called him the Payaso at the press conference. And what is it that you don't like about Ryan Garcia? Have you ever disliked an opponent quite, like this heading into a fight?
Uh, nah, I don't think so. And it's not even that, like, I dislike him. It's just like Ryan is a legitimate fighter, like a legitimate boxer.
Mhm.
But he definitely has like that influencer, like streamer, like persona. And like that's really the only thing that I don't fuck with. And it's not that like I don't like him. It's just It's just me myself. I don't resonate with people like that. It kind of just seems like everything they do or the way that they move is like they move it in a way that like if they know there's always like a camera on them or there's always like trying to do something for like clicks or likes. Um, so yeah, I did call him a payaso. And it was just because the whole like his antics. I know that he has his his history with Joe and all of that. It was like it was starting to boil up into something that it really isn't. Because I mean, I was gonna go with Joe whether this fight happened or not. It just kind of like just the like timing of things was very coincidental. But yeah, regardless, I mean, it's not that I dislike him. It's just like the whole like lead up and the whole selling the fight and just doing I guess just doing too much for it's just not me.
Did the fallout from the Haney fight, where he popped for something, he blew weight, and well, 2-1, because you also like early in training camp posted a picture of you and Devin, and you're like, I can't believe we're going to become the biggest unification in the division. That's like an early proclamation of victory early in camp. So part one of the question is, did part of the fallout of the Haney fight, did that like go against your code? Did that kind of add to those feelings against him? And is the Haney fight, the unification you are looking forward the most in the division?
Um, yeah, I mean, really, any one of the other any of the unification fights is just that day it just happened to pop up on my memories. Me and Haney, we used to get a lot of work, when I was over there with Virgil Hunter, and it's just kind of like it was just really cool, to like reflect on that moment because I know back then I was fighting at 140. I think Haney was at 35. And yeah, there was like that thought, right? Or like, oh, like this fight can happen one day. And then it's when that memory popped up, I'm like, damn, this is crazy. I'm like, he has one of the welterweight titles. I have the WBC, and now it's just like, yeah, I have this fight in front of me. Of course, I still gotta handle business. I still have lots, to worry about. But it's like given, we do handle business. I was like, man, like this is gonna be, like the biggest fight to make, like in the division. I feel like, um, and so I mean, like I said, I mean, any one of the other champions, of course, it's gonna be a huge opportunity. But I definitely feel, given I have a statement victory, over Ryan Garcia, especially because of Haney and Garcia's their history. I feel like it just adds value to that kind of fight.
Yeah, well, you're playing spoiler because everyone's like pushing that rematch for the longest time now, and you're like,
Yeah,
playing
I'm like,
spoiler.
fuck that.
Right. Yeah, as you should. Um, you said a few things about Ryan. You said he looked like he didn't want to be there in the Rolly Romero fight. I'm sure you mean once he got dropped, and then you told him, to his face in L.A. You took that knee against Gervonta Davis. How much do you question? And obviously, every fighter has heart, but how much do you question his heart at this level once things get really tough?
Um, yeah, no, I have a lot of questions, that I'm looking, to ask, on fight night. I want to go into the fight, I want to test his heart. I want to test, how bad, he really wants to be in there. Because you're right, me, Devin, even Rollies, we all have very different styles. Um, but I'm the type of fighter, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna press you. Like I'm gonna like whether I get dropped or whether I get hurt, I'm gonna be in there, trying to hurt you. I'm in there with bad intentions. I don't go looking for a knockout, but if it comes, it comes. So I'm definitely looking, to test his heart, test his will, test, whatever it is that he still has. And but like Ryan said it himself, both of us, we have two losses, what neither one of us is looking for a third. And he's definitely he's trying to make his mark right now, especially in the welterweight division. And but I've already been here for a couple years, and I feel like I'm a full welterweight at this point. I won the champions for a reason, and yeah, I'm looking forward to just going out there and showing it on fight night.
Oh, yeah, just two more before we get out of here, man. When I'm sinking my teeth in this fight, I'm trying to get my Larry Merchant on and give a narrative, give a story, right? Now I don't mean anything offensive to either one of you, but you guys are obviously both modern day mestizos, right? But you call yourself the Aztec, El Azteca, right? And I think a little bit from Barrios' perspective, or maybe it's just me. It's like on some primordial level, it's the Aztec against the conquistador. And it's like because De La Hoya was the American Mexican, the Chicano against Chavez, the fighter from Mexico. Fernando Vargas was the tough guy from Oxnard against Oscar, the pretty boy from LA. Even Morales and Barrera was, the poor kid from Tijuana against the Chilango, the kid from middle class in the city part of Mexico City. So sometimes in these all Mexican title fights, there's this contrast between the two fighters. How would you characterize that contrast between these two in this all Mexican title fight?
Um, I don't really know much about, Ryan's background, what he stands for, what he represents. I know, he does have Mexican roots. Somebody sent me like on a stream where he was saying that he's also part Native American. His reason for claiming that now, I don't know, but I know who I am, right? Like I know I've always been very proud, to represent, my Mexican roots, my indigenous roots. I tell people all the time, like, yeah, like I'm not from Mexico, but I've always been a very proud Mexican. I've never been one that claimed to be Hispanic. I never claimed to be Latino. Like, no, when people ask me, I'll tell like, no, like I'm Mexican. Like I knew where, you know, where my family came from. And I have ancestors from both sides of the border. From um so again, like I know who I am. I know what I guess what support system I have. I know what grounds me. I can't say the same for him, and I won't try to speak on his shit for him, but I think it's been very obvious, with me in every fight, what I bring whenever I step in there. Um, so is I don't think it's so much a question, like to me, but regardless, yeah, we have uh two Mexican fighters, going in there, and the best one's gonna have their hand raised at the end of the night. And right now I'm doing everything in camp, to make sure that that's me.
All right, well, last one, man. What? And I got a two for one. And what do you think people will be saying on the morning of February 22nd about this fight? And Gervonta and Rolly's counterpunching and punching power did enough to take away his confidence. Do you feel like you have enough in those two areas to do the same thing, or will this be or will it be different attributes that win you this fight?
I think Yeah, I think it's gonna be different attributes that win me this fight. I do have the counter punch ability. I have the size advantage on Ryan that I don't think he's used to like dealing with. And I'm just looking forward to going out there on fight night and using all these attributes, using everything that I can, to make sure that my like, again, that my hand is raised at the end of the fight. And I think, yeah, people on February 22nd, in the morning, they're just gonna be like damn, like that's what Mario Barrios is capable of.
Hey, thanks for your time, Mario. Looking forward to the fight, man. Have a good rest of camp.
Hey, I appreciate it, Sean. Always good talking to you, man.
Yep. Take care.